In today's video, I'm going to show you how to take Ableton's stock piano, which leaves a little bit to be desired, and transform it into a piano that sounds beautiful on Ballad. Now this is a follow-up to a previous video, which I will link in the cards at the end. Brett Pontecorvo here at livekeyboardist.com, where I help keyboard players just like you with the ins and outs of sound design, with mastering Ableton Live, and with building a fantastic live keyboard setup. If you're new here, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Alright, so transforming this piano sound from what it is into something that sounds great on a ballad is going to happen in 4 steps. We're going to start by using EQ to pull out some of those treble frequencies and to accentuate some of the warmth that's built into those samples. We're going to add a little bit of compression to make it a little bit more even and sustain a bit longer. We'll use saturation to add some extra frequencies to the higher end of the spectrum, and we'll finish it off with a beautiful reverb. So let's check it out. This is our grand piano sound. And to start, this is pretty dry, but before we do anything, as I mentioned, we're going to start by pulling out some treble frequencies. Now, we do not need anything that's happening below 90 hertz. There are a couple of reasons for this. 1, it's a piano sound, so you want to stay out of that register, and 2, this piano tends to be a little bit bassy to begin with, so we're just going to scoop that right out. There's with the EQ. There's without the EQ. Cool. We're also going to want to bring out a little bit in the 300 range. So we'll click number 2, and I'll just adjust this frequency to about 300, and we'll add 1 dB of gain, and we'll pull this Q in here. All right, and without. Okay, already some progress, but you'll notice it's a little bit thin sounding and it decays very quickly. So we're going to take care of that by using some compression. We could use the regular stock compressor, but I find that the Glue Compressor adds a little bit more character. So we want a really quick attack here, so I'll set it to 0.1 and a long release. And that's because we want the compressor to catch immediately, squash it down, and then use that to sustain out. So as I pull this threshold back, you'll start to see the pin move, and that's how you know that it's doing something. Alright, so you'll hear no compressor and compressor. Takes away a little bit of the volume, but it adds a bit of sustain. So we'll add back 1 dB. So adding a good amount of sustain here. Now we want to add a little bit more to the upper area, and if you check a look at what this is like on the screen when I play, you can see there's a pretty sharp drop off here at the top end. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the saturator to add some harmonics to this end of the spectrum. So we'll drop our saturator in here, and we're going to set this frequency to 2K, and we'll add some depth and a bit of drive. Okay, so we're hearing a little bit, if you listen in the upper register, some distortion, but it is subtle enough that our ears are going to read that as warmth, and we want that warm sound for our ballad. And we're going to go ahead now and add some reverb to finish this off, and then we will pull out our treble frequencies. So since we've already done some input processing, I'm going to actually turn this off, and we'll use some more EQ in a second here. Pre-delay, I like it to hit immediately. And for size and stereo, since it's a ballad, we want it to be really big. So I'm going to turn these knobs up here, and my decay time I'm going to put at about 2 seconds. And we'll pull this back to about 40%. Got some pretty serious vibe happening, right? But it's a little bit muddy, and so what we're going to do is we're going to use a second EQ to sort of shape the way that we want our sound to sit. Ableton has a pretty cool trick here where if I turn on these headphones, I can isolate frequencies to kind of hear what's muddy. Okay, so there's a bit of like a wub 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 happening right here. So I'm just gonna pull a bit of that out. And now we'll test using number 2 to see if there are any other areas that... Okay, it's a bit abrasive, so I'll pull back just a bit in that area as well. Close off this cue. And then we'll add just a little bit to the top here, around 5K. And then to finish it off, it's a really great idea to group these together, just so we have an easy way to access them and map macros if you want to do that. Now, if you're looking for great piano sounds made with only stock Ableton devices, I've got a link on the screen where you can grab a copy of the Pro Piano Effects Collection, which is just that. And also on the screen right now, there is a link to the previous video about making Ableton stock piano sound great. Thank you so much for watching. If you got value out of this video, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button, and I will see you next time on livekeyboardist.com.